the Dune City Council regular session on January 16th, order and 6 p.m. And Jamie, I believe you're first on the agenda.
I am. Mayor Meyer, would you please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat, wait a minute, cover up the t-shirt.
Zip her up and everything?
Okay. I state your name. Yeah, go ahead. You done
I,
it.
Sheldon Meyer, do solemnly swear that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Oregon, and the charter and code of the city of Dune City, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of mayor to the best of my ability as long as I am in office.
Thank you very much. If you would sign that and get that back to me. And if the two of you would please stand, raise your right hand. Did you get a picture? Good, thank you. I state your name.
I, Richard Olson,
Do solemnly swear that I will uphold and defend
do
That I
solemnly
will
swear that I will uphold and
defend the Constitution of the United States,
of America,
just go ahead.
the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Oregon, and the charter and the codes of the city of Dune City, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of city councilor to the best of my ability, so long as I am in office.
Thank you both very much. If you would sign those and get that back to me.
You can see the escape clause there is to the best of my ability.
I didn't say perfectly in every way.
You're on again, Jamie.
I will. Newly placed Mayor Sheldon Meyer,
Present.
Councilor Melissa Stinson,
Present.
Councilor Rick Olson,
Present.
welcome aboard. Councilor Tom Mallon,
Here?
Councilor Robert Orr,
Here.
Councilor Rory Hammond,
Here.
and Councilor Snow is absent and excused.
Those of you that are just here, that's why we put you on the left side.
All the presents are over there. Under the tree and Christmas, you know. Presents.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Did you want to say the pledge?
Oh,
Oh, yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I need a motion to approve the agenda.
so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Also passes unanimously.
Who was the second on that one? Tom, okay. Thank you.
And
I wanted to point out on the consent agenda, the Umpqua Bank, at the time the packets were created, the Umpqua Bank account had not been received, but you have it on the dais this evening.
okay,
Announcements?
announcements.
Charter Communications announced a price increase effective January 17, 2023. Increases include $1.20 per month for broadcast TV surcharge, $5 per month for Spectrum TV Select, Spectrum TV Silver, and Spectrum TV Gold, $2 per month for Latino Me plans, $2 per month for all lifestyle plans, $1 per month for all digital receivers and terminal adapters, and $3.05 per month for all cable cards. Effective February 1st, 2023, the Oregon Liquor Control Board will require annual liquor license applicants in Dune City to first obtain the city's recommendation and then submit the application to OLCC. And thirdly, the unemployment tax rate that Dune City will have to pay for 2023 will be 3.6%, which is down from 4.8%. And I believe that's all, oh, no, this. Commissioner Senegat and Sergeant Timothy Ware of the Lane County Sheriff's Office will be here for the February meeting. So I hope that you will all join us with that, and I hope all citizens who are interested to hear what they have to say will come to the meeting so we can see your bright, shiny faces.
What will be the topic of that discussion?
A number of things, not the least of which is our trespassing person.
So, Mr. Mayor, I made a mistake. I remember the discussion of this consent agreement, consent agenda. I wasn't going to, I just had a question about it. Because I noticed in the Dune City reconciliation summary for the checking account, it showed checks and payments of $249.88, $249,800, whatever. And I didn't see that in the bills of the session. Was that in the bills of last month's session?
That's usually where they are. Sometimes if a bill is going to be late and we're going to be charged a late fee, I will go ahead and pay it and then add it to the,
So the $249,000 that cleared, that was probably for the work on the roadway up there on Hilltop.
the roadway was some of it. That check was for 213,000 something. But the 45,000 was associated with half of the fee for installing the new water system for Fern Acres.
Okay. Thank you. Got you off guard there, so you know.
And we've talked about charter communication, we talked about the Oregon Electric Control Board and the unemployment rate, is 3.6% down from what it was, so it's good news.
So we're at citizens
Do we have any
input?
citizen input?
No, sir, I do not.
All right. Old business, ordinance number 268, regarding the traffic code.
I am going to, given all of the discussion we had at the last meeting, I am making a request to the city council that you appoint an ad hoc committee of a couple of you, it can't be more than 3, to get together and go over that ordinance and change it the way that those 3 decide to do it, and then we'll bring it forward again. And hopefully it will narrow it down to a focus closely to what the city needs.
Okay?
Did we didn't have any, did we have any objections to this the last meeting?
Yes,
We did, all the little things?
that's why I'm asking. So you would need to ask if anybody was be willing to serve on an ad hoc committee. And I don't anticipate more than a meeting or 2 at the most.
Anyone willing to serve on the ad hoc committee discussing our traffic regulations?
I will.
I can do it.
I don't want to, but I will. Because I'm not a Philadelphia lawyer, but I've read this now 3 times, it'll be the 3rd time, so. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I will be contacting you to try and set up a time that works for you.
Rick and Melissa
And Roy.
and Roy. Now we need to appoint a budget officer.
Has to be done every year.
And don't you get to fill that role every year?
That's up to you guys. You can appoint somebody else to do it. Lonnie's climbing under the table.
Any suggestions?
I would suggest we nominate Jamie Mills.
I agree.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Jamie.
Thank you, that's fine.
And just in passing, you have been doing a wonderful job.
Oh, thank
I
you.
mean, I can't imagine anyone jumping in and doing that right off.
Yeah, no.
If you wanted to suggest that we send somebody for training and stuff, then that would be, a year or two down the road, but it doesn't make any sense to me that, it just seems like that's a perfect fit for your position.
Yes, I think it probably is the best place for it. I am hopeful with the crew that we have now that that day will come, that someone will step forward and be able to fill in when I have to go to the doctor or whatever. And she says no.
No, I said the cat.
Anyway, thank you very much for your support.
All right, public hearings, there are none. Executive session, there's nothing scheduled. We're down to new business, committee chair appointments.
I would report that Counselor Snow requests that she be appointed again to the Water Quality Committee. As for any other committees, I would think it would be nice if we did have a street or road commission or whatever we called it before, but I'm not sure we would find anybody to work on it like it used to be. But it may be something you want to pursue in the coming year. Think about it and see if that's something, because the grants I get, I'm lucky to get them, and we do get some money every year that could do some things.
So, I know that Richard Palmer, I saw we paid him again. Is he back doing things?
Yes,
Would he be somebody that would be good to do that?
he's only doing it until he goes back to work. And so, and I just learned that Brent is not going to be working with us anymore. He's gotten a job with the school district. So, I don't have my, what do you call it, my work husband. I don't have my honey to do the dues here at the office. And both toilets need work, okay? So, I don't know what you want to do, who you want to appoint to the city, the community center, but quick, I'll dive under your desk if you don't want to be appointed.
Well, if Susan wants to be on water again, I think we ought to let her do that. That's something that you can't just learn overnight. She's also been council president. Do we want to reappoint her for that, or look to appoint someone else?
I say keep her into the position, carry on.
Assuming she is interested and wants to continue.
She did, at the last meeting, she
Okay.
requested to continue as the,
Okay.
You may want to go ahead and do it formally and nominate and all that stuff. So,
Do we need for both of those positions, for president and for water?
chairman, but we'll also need somebody to take over,
Water quality.
no, the water quality. She wants water quality, but we will also need somebody to take over the community center.
Well, that's right. Oops, sorry.
but we do need to do a nomination for the
Once we go through
president
the
council.
formal process, yes.
Anybody can do that, correct? Can I just go ahead and put it out there, nominate Susan Snow to continue as council president
Sure.
and water quality?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Susan's going to do double duty for us then. And I think we need to talk about the road commission and what we want to do with that, and maybe give us a month to think about it.
Right, on that one, but the community center,
And the community center, Duke Wells has been the one who's done that, because he made the mistake of demonstrating that he did have some marketable skills. you carpenters and general repair people?
Well, I know you are,
Look
Rick,
at
but
me.
Yeah.
No, it's on you, I'll let you have it.
No. I
I'm
I
just,
don't know
I'm
that
just
I've
a
got,
girl.
I don't know that I've got the time. I don't even know what it entails or what it is, but,
It's basically maintaining the building.
yeah,
if something breaks down, you're the person I call. If we get a hole in the roof, you're the person I call. And once a year, you have to climb up there and put moss out up there.
well, I'll guarantee you, you're not getting me on the roof because I get about 8 feet and I start going.
You got some family members, they could do that.
Well, it sounds like we need to have some sort of contractor or something to do that. So,
Well, I think that in the big picture, I mean, we didn't expect Duke to be the one to climb up and do all the goofy things that needed to be done. You know, he kind of railroaded people into doing it, or
A lot of times, yeah. If the boys had gotten in trouble, you know, that kind of thing, send them up on the roof to do some work. Lately though, because he's been sick and had been sick, that I've been using Brent to do that, but now even Brent's gone, but I'll see if we can find somebody else. There's somebody around, I'm sure.
well, it might be,
well, there are handyman people that we can hire. I know you pay rent things, there's people that do that. I'm not sure.
I guess I'd like to run that by Brent to see if, you know,
Who he recommends?
who he recommends, or whether he would consider doing that and not being on staff, or, you know, doing all the kinds of things that,
Yeah, he'd been doing the roads too, and so now that Richard is able to do some things, he went and got hired on by the school district to turn wrenches, which is really what he wants to do.
Well, it pays better too.
Yeah.
What does the road reports, what does that entail?
The road report, each person on the city council is supposed to be assigned a district. And I had signed those last year. And Rory and Susan both have been very, very good about turning in their road reports. Nobody else has.
I drive, but I was never assigned one, so I don't know. Please let me know what I need, what section I need.
I tried to do the best I could to get you all close to
Yeah.
home. The problem is, both of you are practically right next door. So I don't know which way you would prefer it. But it's just a matter of driving around in your area and letting me know if there's a major problem. And I don't mean like big trees where PUD shows up. Although I do need to know about those.
overhanging branches and potholes and those kinds of,
Things
Yeah.
that need to get fixed.
So I
Or
can,
somebody stole the sign again, you know, that kind of
well, I
stuff.
can definitely handle that if you give me a direction as to what section I need to, but I can tell you there are overhanging limbs on Clear
Yeah.
Lake.
I've got yours somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
We-
sent
we each need to do-
Richard to forward.
Clear Lake has some white birch ones. I can't tell you exactly where, but they
Well,
moved
Clear Lake
it.
is not our
Well, see,
road.
there are city streets, there are
Okay,
ones that we have,
so-
and she has a list of them that were assigned.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to reassign them.
I just gotta find them again.
Clear Lakes County.
Yeah.
Clear Lake is county,
Okay,
Darwin's
so-
Loop is county,
it's all this side roads off.
Canary Road is county,
And Fordway is on is Dune City, correct?
right? And some of the
We still
little
have
roads that
potholes.
shoot off, some of them are private as well. You can usually tell, now I haven't been out there to confirm it, but you can usually tell if the street sign is blue, that's a private road. We don't do maintenance on them, but if it's a green street sign, those are the ones we do maintenance on.
We have issues on Fordway.
I know we
The
do.
2 potholes are still sucking
Yeah.
up people's tires.
And way is missing an A,
What is?
the word way. It's for W-Y. I mean, did they run
That's
out
a
of
short,
letters?
yeah, they ran out of letters. They ran out of room. I don't know. If it's bothering you, we'll get you a new sign. It's
Well,
about
I-
$60, but
You didn't know there's a shortage of A's in
I didn't.
It's a supply chain issue.
is that Ford Way that's missing or is it?
Way. Ford is there.
Yeah, right, okay, just the way. Well, I know, but it requires a whole new sign. I didn't know if you were talking about a different street, because
No.
Way is abbreviated that way in a lot of places, so.
Okay,
You could get me started on the things that have changed since we were kids and went to school.
yeah, I just assumed that people let me read my
List, I'll tell them, let's quickly see the list of committees.
All right, so have we completed our committee chair appointments?
Well, except for the office, but I can just take over that, I guess. We don't really need it. It never really got into,
Community center,
it was usually, huh?
community center.
Yeah, the community center. It never got into the code as an official committee kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I would be willing to help you wherever I could, but again,
You don't climb on buildings, I know.
have very limited marketable skills. That's why I became an administrator.
Okay, now.
I will call in experts. Usually when I do that, though, I barter and pay for their business license for a year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay.
All right. Oregon Public Works Emergency Response Cooperative Agreement.
It's time to renew the three-year or five-year agreement.
Nothing's changed in the agreement, has it? The wording is the same as it's been.
I doubt
It looked like it's the same, so I just moved that we accept it or we sign it, but I did read it. We need a second.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Oh, we're talking about-
Just as a brief reading, it appears that they want to increase a lot of the percentages of the taxes in some of this, is that correct?
No, that's you're talking about, oh, see, this is our,
No,
this is the agreement for different things.
Oh.
It's, yeah, the item right before that on the
Oh, okay.
agenda.
All right. No comment.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
Okay, now we're gonna talk about what we're talking about.
Now, LG 2023 legislative priorities ballot.
So I don't know if we're supposed to vote on this, but I do have some problems. The first question I have is, do we have any people that actually represent us there? I mean, do we have
At the
anybody
league.
that regularly shows there? I have been, I've been on the conference calls a couple of times and listened, and I stopped doing it because I just felt like it was some state party line. And I didn't think we had any real representation. But do we have somebody that tells them just what we want or do want or what we agree with?
You do.
We do. But we don't.
That's what they're doing. They're asking you to review these. They polled you last year. I don't know if you remember. or not.
Yeah, I
They
did
polled you
fill out
as to-
the poll.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is what they came up with all of the different ideas.
Yeah.
And so now they're asking you, what they've done in the past, and I know you'll remember that, is rate them, you know, your
Yeah.
top three or something like that. And usually they do it as a city and you tell them, but now this year they're asking that you do it all individually and directly to them.
Hence the link to the electronic ballot.
But you only get one vote per city.
Well, that's what I thought too, but this year they're doing it,
That's what it states here.
they wanted it, everybody have their own vote, at least that's the way they put it to me. So what I've done in the past, and we can still do that, is you guys take it, go home, chew on it. If you don't like it, put a big X on it, don't vote for it. Put your number one, your number two, and your number three, or how about a new one?
So,
You can do it either too.
because, you know, I felt that the city is supposed to be representing us as a city, and we have to go on the conference calls and listen. They have like monthly or weekly or whatever, it's quite often. And you can get involved with it, but I kind of felt aced out. You know, it wasn't always things that pertain to our city, because they talk about property taxes, and property taxes, and things like that. And I almost got the feeling there was a bunch of, that we have bureaucrats making rules that they say the cities want, but I don't know if it's really what really gets to the public. It's us.
Well, there is also the small cities meetings,
Yeah,
and that's where we really are supposed to be attending every time they have one. They used to be every month, now they're every other month. And they're in the small cities, like I think this month was in Bandon.
right.
And yes, Becky and I used to go to those all the time and make our opinions known, and it would go upstream the way it's supposed to. But I just can't go on the road.
And so one of the problems that I have is that if I go and start talking about my positions, I don't know if that would reflect Bob's position.
Well, let's,
Or things like that. That's why I'm bringing this up.
let's go back to what Rich said a minute ago, because it does say here, each city is permitted one vote. Each city's designated person to enter the vote electronically on the below link. So we are not, as far as what this says, we are not voting individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can be the one designated if you guys tell me what you want.
Mhm.
Okay.
And when are we supposed to do it by? August?
It says 2022, so I'm kind
Oh,
of.
Well, we're kind of late.
And the session's already started, or starting, I think the sessions has just started at the legislature. So I don't know, I have a problem with, I know when you went to the meeting, I haven't read through all the USB thing we had, and I read it in the past and followed through it. And I turned out being frustrated, not feeling like we were being represented, or at least I wasn't able to represent the city, because you can listen to them, but I'm just a counselor, and I cannot want to be making policy for the city because I have certain views about things. And so it's a big deal how we do this, and we really need to have a plan for this.
But did we in fact this looks like last year's,
It does look like last year's, and yet I just got it recently.
Really?
So I maybe,
Ballots due August 5th, 2022.
2022.
yeah. And so it does look like last year's.
Can you get a
But
clarification of whether this is,
there are some issues that
says-
will continue.
Well,
Yeah,
it's,
it says the top.
yeah, but because these things talk about, it sounds like what they're talking about is current stuff. And I read some of this. Important deadlines, yeah, so we.
Yeah, I mean, some of these, like the alcohol revenue, the percentages.
That's already been
They've already
done.
taken
Yeah.
place, they've already gone up.
but
The tobacco has already gone up. I mean, they have a $3.60 a pack increase that's
But
already
this may
taken
be a
place.
continuation of the session.
So when I read this as being, they've already voted on, and because they're saying, this is the background, and the LLC will be seeking funding to support coordinated local responses to. This is what they're gonna do, and I think this is the result of the vote.
Oh,
I
that
think so
could be.
too.
And again, they're gonna do things that maybe I don't agree with as a city, so how does that help us?
It's a good question, Rory.
Well, at this point,
Oh, then
since,
at this point, excuse me,
no, go ahead.
but I'm thinking, well, if you see something you just really despise in there, write a letter as a city,
Hmm.
if it hasn't already occurred.
Yeah.
Maybe you would write that letter, is that correct?
No, well, I could, if you guys tell me what you wanted to say.
Well, see,
You know,
you're the
what
person,
points-
You're the one person.
see, here's the issue with that though, is that we voted on, they decided this, we had this ballots on, due on August 5th. And just before the, a month or 3 weeks before the legislature says that this is what they're gonna do. And we only meet once a month. How can we respond to what they agree to when the session's starting, they're setting committees up and things like that? I just, the process frustrates me because I don't think it's really proactive. It sounds like they're representing things that maybe is certainly more applicable. Some of these things were like Multnomah County and
Right.
Portland, things like that, but not Dune City.
Well, it's like they want to institute a vehicle mileage travel structure that would charge you for the amount of miles that you travel on the roads.
Which in a small city that's a rural community, that's probably not what people want here. But Portland, they probably could care less.
I mean, you might as well start putting in toll booths.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And the question for me that comes to mind is something like that, who the heck's gonna enforce that?
Yeah.
Well, so it's your licenses per year, you write in your mileage, and it's based on your mileage instead of your gas tax.
Yeah, but
That's
who's
the-
gonna check it?
Well, there,
Well,
well, we could start.
I walk to work.
Just put a toll booth on either side of Darling's Loop. Let's see how it works.
No, but those are issues that they're gonna go for, and it's obvious, and they've seen things that they're really taxed, they wanna have more taxes or get more taxes for the cities, which are a good thing. But I don't think it's really representing us to the best we want.
And it won't until somebody gets there at the meetings and starts talking about it.
Well, and it's no different than the state putting a corporate sales tax on all businesses. You know, I mean, they're putting a sales tax on the business, not the people, and it's causing a pass-through to the people and making it to where businesses can't even afford to do business, because you're paying a state sales tax through the corporate sales tax, and you're paying the state tax.
So, but the issue, I agree, but the issue is the League of Cities are supposed to be representing us, and they do provide training and some things like that, but I felt like it, you know, it seems more like more of a part of the bureaucracy instead of the group. That's my opinion. I'll start attending the conference calls and start talking and not representing the city, but representing myself, because when I got kind of depressed and disillusioned with the process when I was doing those, and I was doing them regularly for probably about 6 months.
Well, I think that would be wonderful if you did that, and then if you have some questions or concerns.
I'll bring them up, I'll just make reports.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Because I can make reports and I don't have to necessarily show them, I can talk about my biases, but you can also understand, I won't make biased reports.
I'm comfortable with that. Moving along,
We're not, I'm not sure if we discussed it, I don't know if it's really an action item, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, it's not really an action item. Oh, well, no, it's a discussion.
the next item is approval of form for city approval of liquor license recommendation.
Right, and I started to figure out a form, and that's why I put the city of Tualatin's in your packet.
Yeah, so,
We only have one business. I mean, really.
and Rick, do you want to put down your date of birth and social security number and ODL in that form?
You know, I guess the question is when we initially applied for our OLCC license in 2015, it had to have the approval of Dune City to start with. So we had the approval of Dune City to apply for the OLCC license for the, you know, on-premises and off-premises sales. So I don't understand what's changing, other than it appears that I'm gonna have to pay another licensing fee to the city on top of the OLCC fees.
Well, how else are we gonna get a revenue, Rich? We gotta do businesses.
You know, I mean, that is a severe sore point with me, because
Yeah.
you're taxing businesses
Yeah.
to subsidize the citizens, and the citizens need to start stepping up and paying their own property tax, because Dune City citizens are not paying a property tax. They're paying Lane County tax, but they are not paying a city tax. And so if you want to continue to put it all on the business, next thing you know, you're going to have absolutely no business in the city.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's getting tough. I mean, we're darn near 42% tax by the time you take state, county, city, everything else, we're 42% tax. So, and then you start adding all these licensing fees on top of that to the state and the county and the city, and now you're pushing 50%. And they expect you to make money how?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a sore subject for me right
Well,
now.
what I see what I see the intent was if we had a bar that was always having fights and they're throwing, there maybe was a way not to have them approve their liquor license without the city approving of it. But I don't know why, I mean, I look at the name of the manager and all these personal information, why do we need that?
I don't think so. And I don't, if it were me, because we only have one, we write a letter from Sheldon as mayor. You know, why have a form? Why charge a fee? Why?
Even if we had 5 or 6 of them, I wouldn't.
Well,
Yeah, it's,
last I recall, it was OLCC on their form required Dune City's approval. The form, I believe, was either sent to Dune City and Dune City signed off on it, and then it was sent to OLCC. But, you know, I mean, you know, a prime example is, like I told you earlier today, from 2015, we went from paying $2,500 in taxes to this year, we're paying damn near $11,000 in taxes. What am I getting? I have gotten absolutely nothing as a business from Lane County for $9,000 in 8 years. That's almost a 105% increase every year.
and that's why.
And then this kind of stuff comes along.
Can we make a simpler form that's basically yes or no for the liquor application, and do we have to charge for it?
I don't think we have to charge for it. I think that's definitely, you know, a council decision. And you would have to recuse yourself, you know.
I mean, yeah, I would have to
But
recuse
no, I
myself. I
just-
mean, I can understand, you know, needing to pay for the copiers and the paper and the things like that, but, you know, when you're
I know,
talking
that's outrageous.
$100, at $75, at $35.
What I think is that it gives us I understand that we would want to be able to, we didn't like it, a business was causing problems that we wouldn't want to renew the liquor license. But I don't know if we need to have all this personal information or even charge it.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I don't
it's more like-
either.
Yeah, okay.
I really don't. If, like he said, it was before, and they're just gonna put that basically recommendation from the city in their current form, then we don't have to worry about it. You know, just sign off on it and go.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I'd like to see us go.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's what.
I mean, it makes no sense to me to have one business in town and charge them
No.
everything.
If they want an application, I'd ask them what the requirements that they need for the application for us to do it. If it's their application, have them give us their application, we'll say yes and give it to Rich, or
Right,
whoever.
and what I got was an email. And the email said that cities will need to have an application. And the cities will need to have a recommendation.
Okay,
They didn't say what form, they didn't say where. And so I was out looking to see, you know, I'm thinking letter, and this is easy, you know?
right.
But then I look at Tualatin, and I look at Bend, and I look at, well, I never go to the bigger cities, but
Well, they're both bigger
it's
than
this
us.
big hairy deal.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to make it a big hairy
It's a
deal,
city.
but I don't have an
I
opinion.
wonder if City of Colbert, what type of application the City of Colbert has, or the City of Drain.
Do they have a bar?
Yeah, well, they do, I know they have bars there. That's why I brought it
I
up.
think we need to look at the smaller cities and see what they're
See what
doing.
they're
Yeah.
doing.
Because you know, we're talking about being what's best for us, but we're also talking, you know, rightfully so, no offense to being the business owner, but we have funding that we need help with, and if we can't, you know, put it back on the ballot that we want taxes, how else are we going to increase our funding?
Well,
Is this required by OLCC?
we'll talk about funding. He pays a beer and wine.
No, I
We get
understand
liquor
that.
license receipts for that. And so, I mean, that's reasonable. I mean, I,
Yeah, what was
I'm
it?
not saying it has to be an outrageous amount, but well, I think we truly, for due diligence, need to look at the smaller cities, what they are doing.
Dune City's received OLCC tax of $1,848.66. You're welcome.
Thank you.
that was last month.
That was last month, which was a slow month, so.
Not to mention the $73 for cigarette tax or whatever, but.
Which we're no longer doing
Yeah.
anymore because it was $950 for a license
License to do it.
to sell tobacco. So plus a $3.60 tax increase.
Anyway,
Yeah, I understand Melissa, your idea of having fees for things, but we do have a business license that we charge people for and things like that. And I mean, if we have a business that is not performing or causing problems, then we have mechanisms to revoke their license.
Well, no,
Right.
I want to point out that our business licenses only apply to contractors.
Right. I got it.
CCP.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, ours is all through the state and the county.
I'd like to have more businesses here.
I agree.
Closer.
Yeah, here. First, we have to have roads wide enough that two cars can pass each other without hitting each other.
But if you had a county that wasn't charging so much in taxes as Lane County, and, you know, you're not getting anything out of it.
My proposal would be to find the minimal part of the application so we can send the state that we approve of whoever has a liquor license here. And we just send an approval, not or no. That would be my,
Do something quick and easy.
Without a fee.
right.
Lakeside and some of those kind of places, they're small.
Well, they're, you know,
We're probably the only city that only has one business.
$35 for, you know, the paper and
We have other
what,
businesses.
half
Making a
hour,
copy and
half hour
sending
to
it in.
do the time? I
We have a
mean,
couple of meetings
I
here.
don't even think
But-
it'd be a half hour, but, you know.
Yeah.
No, and I was not considering it.
just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, it's mine too. I mean, I saw it, and, you know, I guess this liquor license application, why do we need to, I guess if you're the business for the OLCC, why does the city need this personal information?
Makes no sense to me.
Well, I agree with you. I don't agree that we need to have all this personal thing, but I would still like to see what the other small cities are doing.
Yeah.
And we can put, you know, I'm not saying we have to assign a license fee, but to have something in writing and an agreement in the event that something happens and we need to revoke something is going to be key to protect our city.
OLCC is gonna revoke the license. It's not gonna be the city, it'll be the OLCC right off the get-go.
But would
Now,
we
the
have,
only power we would have would be to say, if we had a lot of trouble with it, is to let them know that we don't recommend. You know, it's not like we're
Yeah,
giving,
I mean-
they're not giving up their power to,
Do you have a feeling where we're on?
I do, I do.
Okay. We want to get through here so we can go out of room. Consideration of proposal for a new copy machine lease.
What happened, I want to explain the whole story. You know, we had the old copy machine, and we were budgeting to continue the monthly payments for that. And according to my calculations, we were done, so I quit paying. They never sent me another bill. And then all of a sudden, they say we're 3 months behind and we need to catch up. And so I looked into it, and it should have ended in December, but we had to write a letter for it to end. And it wasn't our job to do it, it was Pacific Office Supply, their job to do it. And the guy that represented our account has been gone for several months now. So it didn't get done. And so they know that, and this is what they're suggesting for the future.
I have a couple questions about it. I noticed that it's gonna be less a month than the proposed one, that's right,
And not change,
and not change.
because the other one went up.
And the other thing is, I know that you have legal size and letter size paper in the copy machine. You have an extra, you should be able to put, in the I model, you should be able to put up to 25 envelopes and new envelopes in there. Did you know that?
Well, I'm sure we probably can.
And, because I don't know how you do
How?
your envelopes.
Is
Well,
that-
okay, so maybe I gotta figure it out.
The copier on the admins, that does envelopes, right?
Yeah, that's the, you know, We have the little one right next to where all the mail goes through and out, so.
So what I'm getting at is that if you can, I think that I'm not sure what this model has, you have an additional slot you can put in those things, and you can put 25 number 10 envelopes in, and you can just print them that way instead of having to manage, you just don't, because I have to have it out of the printer.
Which is, we don't have a situation where that would,
You do much envelopes? I was
Well,
thinking,
when we
When-
have big mailings, we print out labels, and we just
We
stick
don't.
them on the envelopes.
either we do or we order them from League of Oregon Cities.
So this looks like a good deal, if it's gonna be less and not again raised.
Is this a pure lease, Jamie, and essentially a rental with a purchase option at the end?
I think it's a purchase. I haven't really read it yet because I was still very angry with him,
I think it's a lease.
So,
but he knew that.
So they're gonna take the old machine and is there any trade-in allowance for that, or was it considered a straight?
No, I
rent?
don't think there's any trade-in,
So it was really a pure round, sounds like.
right?
and did you have to pay the 3 months that they?
No, they are paying the rest of that off.
Good. So they're trying to make it good.
Yes, they are trying to make it good because they know it was
Yeah.
a former employee that,
They also provide us web services and things of that sort, the phone service update.
What's the life of the contract?
I am determined, I'm thinking about cutting off the phone.
It's a 60-month lease.
Oh, no, it provides phone service.
This
yeah.
adjusted solution is the 45 I want to meet that. Following solution pricing is based on a 60-month lease with service. It'll be currently on a lease, but the second one, it says that this will close out the current lease and handle shipment back to the leasing company free of charge. So it's
Who is the leasing company?
Pacific Automation, Office Automation.
Pacific Automation.
Do you know if the monthly allowance for copies would suffice, or are we likely to incur expenses in addition?
We always have overages. Not every month,
Yeah.
but usually they bill us every month for those, and it's, some months is more than others. Especially if we're doing a lot of public hearings. But it isn't that bad. What was bad was, number one, the taxes. I could never get them to sign off on the form that is required by Lane County so that we don't have to pay taxes on this, on the machine.
You're talking about personal property now?
Yeah. And what it is they get charged the tax. It's not us, but they get charged the tax, so they want us to reimburse them for that tax. And I don't want to do it because all it takes is signing that form and you don't have to.
They're the legal owner, so they should pay for it. You're simply a lessee, so you're renting it.
I know.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
all they have to do is sign that form. I'm willing to sign it and they don't have to pay it. But they never would. I could never get them to sign it. Well, it's because I didn't have a representative and I didn't know that. So that's one thing, because that'll save us between $200 and $500 a year, because that's over and above. And then the fact that the price is lower and it will not change, it's locked in.
That's a nice,
And the cost per copy is the exact same cost that we had before, the charge per copy.
And the
Overage-
allowance?
Overages, yeah.
The allowance is the same number of copies also, do you think? 2,700?
That I don't know. I have to pull that out and look and see on that, but
Okay.
Oftentimes, overage rates seem to be extravagantly high. Would it make any sense to ask, what would it cost us to do 3,000 copies a month just to avoid the whatever overage fee is? And maybe it's not extravagant, I don't
Well,
know.
they have our usage data, they should know how much we use.
right. They already have the data. and they should
But
know.
it may make more sense to
Mm.
just pay a little bit more for the,
I will.
not the overage, but the.
I will ask. Because I agree with you on color. I try real hard not to copy in color if I can help it
Right.
because of the extra fees. But when you're doing a packet,
Yeah,
No,
if we did a nice job with the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
This one,
where, you know, this pages might need up and this, it gets confusing. So anyway, I made notes on the different things and I will check with him. He also volunteered to come here and speak to you to ask questions like this. So if you, perhaps when we bring it forward next time, have him come,
Who is that?
the representative that we have now.
From Civic Office.
Mhm. So that you could ask specific questions. So that'd be good.
You had a question, Rick?
No, I was, the action item, so you're gonna bring, we don't need to do any action today.
Right.
Okay.
There's no big rush on it.
Newspapers and education request for support.
That's in your packets. I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to do this individually or maybe not, or whatever, and make your own decision, but we were sent one as a city.
I was sent one too.
Yeah, I'm sure anybody that gets a newspaper got one at home too.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if the city was interested in donating a subscription or two for the kids.
I would, I see the papers at school, and I think it's a nice thing, and it's not a lot of money. I would suggest that we offer at least a $30 contribution, perhaps more.
I agree with that. My son did receive the newspaper throughout the school time, and it did help him with his reading. It did help him be aware at his young age of the events going on in town, kind of giving him a proposal of what to look forward to. He's always excited when that newspaper came.
Well, they don't have enough comics in it.
You'd be surprised on what a third grader will read, and most of the time it was not the comic section, to be honest with you. I mean, they use these in the classrooms too, so I mean, it's definitely a good benefit for, I think, the children over future, current and future.
But typically, if there is any resident paper, it is in comics.
It could be, yeah, construed as that way, but he does have some good things too.
No,
I'll let you talk to my 9-year-old who loves getting it. It's a look forward, it's an encouragement for them to practice the basic things that sometimes our schools aren't able to give.
Do we know how many
in
copies
time.
of the schools? Yes.
I do not know.
Is one going to be?
Do we have any input?
I do not have an exact one. I could ask Jenna, the publisher, but I don't know specifically.
Oh, I was thinking that there's what, 20, what is the kid size now, the class size,
There's about
26?
20 kids in a classroom, but they do put out in the beginning of each academic year if you want your child to participate in it. And what it is, I don't know what the, how many people actually respond back.
Do you kids check out the paper like you would at a library and
Comes directly in his mailbox.
the kids will?
No, our home address.
Oh,
And it's addressed to him like he's getting a piece of mail as he's being a productive,
huh.
learning citizen of the town, of the city.
Well, Bob, you probably know what's been the response. If you have 20 kids in a class, how many want to receive the paper or are receiving the paper? Do you?
I don't know that. I know, we have a copy in the library, we have copies in the faculty room. I don't know where those specifically come from. I have not talked to any students, but then I wouldn't in the normal course of my
Right.
work. So I really, I can certainly find out, do a little survey of the teachers.
I think it's a good idea, if the kid wants it, I think it's that. Then the question would be how many?
Right.
Right.
I have a comment. I take there's a page in there, a full page for kids, and it's educational, but it's fun, activities. And usually, well, last year, it was during the summertime, there were a lot of marine type themes, and then it changes, you know, with the seasons and things like that. But I save them for my grandkids who don't even live here. They live up in rural Washington County, and they love it. And I noticed on here it says a 9-month subscription, but I especially take them up there in the summer because they're not in school. And it gives them something different than a classroom experience, something they can do at their own pace, and it's fun and educational. So
I think it's a value to our children. I think we owe them that to make them productive, and I guess you could say.
But how many?
I think that's up for us, you know, how much we would like to pledge if we're all in agreement of that. $30 is for one student, as it say.
The newspapers is a great thing. I'm biased because I used to be a paper boy. And that's when I started reading the newspaper. I used to read it all the time. And the sad thing is they don't have newspaper kids to go out and do that. You learn a job, you learn how to read and all that stuff. And it's sad. It's a hard thing for small town newspapers to survive. And you know, as a family, I don't have kids anymore. You know, the kids would read the same newspaper. So you think families should be ordering newspapers and make sure that get their kids to read it. So I can see the incentive for a kid to see his name on the address and get it. That's great. I'm not sure if it's our responsibility. I mean, it's personal responsibility. I don't know if it's the city's responsibility to do it.
That's the thing, you may get some pushback on that. It's a small amount of money. Some might say, well, you know, why don't the parents just pay the $30?
Yeah, I would look at it a little bit differently. I think if we do contribute, we're not only supporting the kids, but we're also supporting our hometown newspaper. And to me, that's very important. I'd be happy to look into it at school, and I can check in with you or Jenna and see what, whether there's a waiting list or how many kids actually get subscriptions. I mean, I think if we want to table this for a month, we can come back and have some solid information.
Better.
Yeah.
Any objections to that?
No, I think it'd be a good thing. I'd like to know how many are doing it now and
Yeah.
how many lists they have, if they have a list for it. That'd be a good thing.
We'll be in touch then. And
Sounds wonderful, thank you.
okay, yeah.
That was a motion by you. Is there a second?
I can.
It's a motion to table till next month, so
Yeah.
you'll come back with a report and then we can really decide.
So I make that as a motion. We will table the newspaper question until the next meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
No, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Pass unanimously, right? Are we ready to go into reports?
I believe so.
Have we decided what we're going to be doing with 155-1?
One
We're
fun
going to
fact.
have an ad hoc meeting.
Oh, and that is going to be coming before you in public hearing, which means I have to publish twice before the hearing. I have to send out notice to everybody who lives in Dune City, so it's like March 15th is the earliest I can get all that done.
I just didn't want to overlook something that we should be doing.
Thank you.
Mayor's report, I'm pleased to have some new faces here, and hope that you are as committed as it feels like you are, and good input, and I think we're moving along as a city. I feel pretty good about where we are. And Duke's not with us anymore, so it looks like the building is still standing. I mean, Duke is still around.
I was Can you rephrase that a little bit?
No, there was a cartoon in the paper about, I don't know, 3 months ago or so, and the guy comes home and says to his wife, I saw so-and-so at the park today, and asked her how her husband was, and she said, well, he's not here anymore. And I said, well, why didn't you go with him? And he said, I wish you'd have told me that he was dead. You know? So, road reports.
That's for each of you, and I will get out areas.
Okay, yeah, remind us.
I'll send out the maps again,
All right.
because we have new counselors.
It looks like they're now done, on the road now. I drive it, I drove it the other day just to see what it looked like.
Which one?
Parkway Avenue, Parkway.
Oh, yeah, Parkway's done.
And I guess I do have one more issue on, I got a letter from a concerned citizen. It says, to whom it may concern, I have a public safety concern regarding a recently dug well that is in close proximity to a septic system. The concern, of course, is the possibility of the well becoming contaminated. I'm not sure of the exact address up to this point. It's only been a vacant lot. It's located on Russell Drive in Dune City. I've included a screen capture showing the lot and the owner's names, Andrew and Victoria Gabbert. And the parcel ID is 8086634. The next door neighbor's address to the north is 5173 Russell Drive. The well is located on the very southern corner of the lot and right next to the road, Russell Drive. The septic is straight across the street to the west. When I drive by it today, I noticed that construction has begun. It would be a shame if someone became ill to a contaminated well. Thank you for the time.
State code was 50 feet from a septic tank or drain field to a well. Is it 100
It's
now?
100 now, yeah, except where the lots were created, if there's not enough room on the lot, and the lot was created before 1970 something, I can't remember exactly what date, but early on.
78 or something.
And this particular subdivision was created much earlier than that, 65, I think. It's 1965. So, and so it has already been approved by, the city has no jurisdiction over septic systems.
Right.
We try to say, well, we try to represent the state saying, well, you gotta have that space. But if there isn't room, then that's the next thing we look at. When was the subdivision created? And if it was created early enough, then we know that they can apply for a septic and a permit to put in a septic, and then the county representing the state and DEQ comes out and is all in county jurisdiction.
The well is.
No, the septic.
The septic, okay. If we have no jurisdiction on, well, that end of it, why are we messing with it?
We don't mess with it. The only thing we do is when somebody comes in and brings us an application to build a structural permit with all the stuff that goes with it, we ask for a site plan. So we know where they're gonna put everything, and we check setbacks. Not only our setbacks, but we check the septic setback to warn the people that if you don't do it right, it's not you're gonna spend a lot of money and throwing it away. And so we tell them that they have to meet the setbacks. Most of the time, they come in before they even think about building, and we give them the setbacks so that they have them.
Well, this thing is about potable water and also like water use for irrigation and things like what people use wells for. And if you're gonna have a potable water, you're gonna test it and you're gonna do the treatment that you need to do.
Yeah,
It's
you're
more
gonna
the
be
homeowner's problem than, I don't know how.
Right. But isn't there a permit issued for a well by the state?
By the state, yeah.
Well, then
There's actually a
then
well
did this
law.
fellow get a permit?
I'm sure.
And if he-
I don't know. The well was in before he applied, before he purchased it.
So, okay, then assuming that there was a permit issued then, sounds like there had to be, and it met those requirements
I know. It's all,
in the story, yeah.
it's all been, met the requirements, and I appreciate the person's concern. But quite frankly, if it's her septic she's worried about, her septic is going straight into the lake. You know, I mean, when I say that, it's a ways, she's not, the septic's not right on the water. But that's where groundwater's gonna flow downhill. That's just the way it works.
The person that would be hurt by it would be the homeowner themselves.
Mhm.
You know, it's not gonna necessarily hurt other people.
Well, the only real thing about the wells is the water level, the water table. If I put a well in and it lowers the water table, that your well doesn't work, that's a problem.
Yeah, but that's a whole different
But
issue.
but my point is that the pot, where they put the well and things like that, if it's potable or not potable, I don't think
That's
an
their
issue for
problem,
us
it's
to worry
not
about.
ours, yeah.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate her being concerned.
Okay, for the good of the order. Roy?
Well, I was hoping to hear a State of the Union or the State of the City address from the new mayor, the newly elected mayor. Congratulations, I'm glad to see Rich here. It's, well, just glad to see people's here. I think my number one priority here is roads and water. That's the things that concern me the most. And I sure hope we can figure out to take care of that. We have one water district, and then we have two other water districts. And I know that the urgency's kind of disappeared because that the permit has been renewed till 2035. But you need to stay on it. We need to stay on it and get this solved. That's all I have to say.
Good. Bob?
Okay, I'll just say welcome, Rich, and congratulations to the two of you that are continuing, and I have nothing further.
Okay.
And ditto on that. As far as money for water and things like that, I think we need to get it from Lynn County. We don't need to raise taxes on people in Dune City. Take police as an example. Were 7 deputies living in Veneta, Lynn County deputies. They pay the same rate of tax, I'm talking about property tax, that we do here in Dune City. They have 7 deputies, we have none. Well, now we have 1, and then Tim Ware.
There's 4,
Is
actually.
there 4 now?
Mhm. But
So
again,
that
they-
was- You know, it's just kind of that issue and like your LOC comments, we're kind of left out in the cold, and it's been that way for years. It's always Portland. They dictate to everybody for everything, and we're trying to pound the sitting around the whole barrel. That's
I would remind you that Commissioner Seneca and Sergeant Ware will be here in February, so.
Melissa?
I don't have anything to say right now, though I am looking forward to the meeting in February with those 2 individuals, because I think it will give us a guide point as to what we need to do to protect our city, to further guide us to complete these issues like water and the safety of the city.
Rick?
I'm just glad to be here. Got nothing at this point.
All right.
I'm sure he will later.
Motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
See you in a month.
All right.
For the record, 7:08
08.
PM.
Yeah. So do we.